Good morning, everybody. Good to see you guys this morning. It's 9:30 here, Pacific Standard Time, and today's lesson is really amazing. Super excited to bring you guys this today. So we are on lesson 6. If you're just now hopping on, say hello. If you can. Sometimes our chat settings are a little wonky. If you can't say anything, then let me see if I can. Oh yeah, here we go. Everyone, there we go. All right. Good to see you guys this morning. Lesson 6. So this lesson is called Environment is But Our Looking Glass. So James Allen, in his book, As a Man Thinketh, he said, what we think in secret comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. So that's what this is named after, which is really interesting, right? It's really about like what you are, what you're feeling, what you're thinking on the inside is what you're manifesting on the outside. I made a joke once on Facebook and I said, what you eat in secret comes to pass. Your body is your looking glass. Same concept, a little bit different though. So good morning, good afternoon from wherever you guys are coming in from. I see you guys all hopping on here today. But yes, so today we're going to talk about cybernetics. So what does psycho mean? Well, it's the Greek word for mind. You thought it meant crazy. It doesn't. It means mind, okay, in Greek. And then cybernetics, the definition of that is the science of communication and automatic control systems in both machines and in living things. So when you think about cybernetics, think about autopilot, think about your thermostat, think about things that autocorrect. You have a cybernetic mechanism in your phone that whenever you try to type the word Zwagil, it's going to autocorrect to something else like Zimbabwe, unless your phone gets used to saying that, right? It learns. If you type in anything in your phone, if it doesn't recognize it, it will autocorrect to something else. That's a cybernetic mechanism. So just as an example of what cybernetics is, well, humans also have a cybernetic mechanism, and that's something we're going to talk about today. Before I get into that, though, Maxwell Maltz. So this is about this book, this lesson mostly. He was a plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgeon, and he came out with this book in the 60s. And his ideas about, his discovery, psychological discovery, was one of the greatest discoveries of his generation. He discovered that people have two images, not just one. And I want to start with one quote by him that I think is really important. And he says, self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. And so if you have a limited self-image or a poor self-image, it's probably you're going to have limited results and limited, limited whatever you're getting in your life, right? So he says we've got two images, and this is how he discovered this. So he'd have people coming into his office, they get a nose job, whatever, something's going on that they're getting that they want to improve. Maybe they have a scar on their face, whatever. And he noticed that no matter how well the surgery went, no matter how well the operation went, some people left out of there and they had positive results, right? And they acted different, they carried themselves different, they had a lot of confidence. Now they could go out into the world and they could just feel like they could crush it because now they looked like how they felt on the inside, right? But then some people, no matter how well the surgery went, no matter how many times they made modifications, this person was still had a bad self-image on the inside. They still didn't see the results on the physical. They still felt like they were ugly or whatever on the inside. You see the anorexic person that's standing in front of the mirror, they're literally not fat, but in their minds, they're looking for where the fat is, right? And so what they're seeing is something different than what the rest of the world is seeing. Have you guys know what I'm talking about? So we have two self-images. And so you have the one image, that's what you present to the world. That's how you do your hair. That's how you get dressed every day. That's how, you're presenting, how you meet and greet the world, how you're, how you talk to people. You may be very gregarious. You may be very shy and reserved. How you're presenting yourself to the world is one of your images. The other image that you have is the one you hold inside. It's the picture that you're holding inside. And if you've got a negative or a bad image of yourself, your results are going to be a reflection of that. And so if, a child that was raised with a lot of praise, good job, you're doing well, all that growing up, they tend to grow up to be very confident. They have a good understanding of who they are. But the child that's raised with criticism and negativity, and, you didn't, hit the bar high enough, you didn't stack up, you're not as good as your brother, you're not as good as your sister, always being compared to something else better than you, then you're probably growing up very insecure as a human being. And so the confident person has a good understanding of who they are. They understand the power of their mind, and they like themselves. They have a good opinion of themselves. They have a good image, that good self-image. The person that doesn't understand himself, that's super critical of himself, that feels inferior, that person has a poor image. And so we go through this all the time in network marketing. You have somebody that joins your business and they go, I'm just not good at sales. I'm just not that kind of person. I think I'm just more of like an hourly kind of person. I'm just like I'm a job person. I'm really not a business minded person. Now they want to be, they want the results of that, but their self-image right now is based on what they've built themselves into, or what others have built themselves into, and up until that point. But regardless of the image that you hold for yourself, I'm of the belief that you can change it. You can change it. You can improve it. You ever look back at yourself, 5-10 years ago, and you go, oh gosh, that's so embarrassing. I can't even believe I said that. You either look in your Facebook memories and you're like, oh, I'm just going to delete that, because I don't even believe that anymore. I don't know why I was thinking about that. I don't know why I even posted that. And that's not who I am now. That's who I was 5 years ago, which if you met me 5 years ago and you met me today, you'd be being two different people. And so if you have the ability to grow and look back on the changes you've made, you can also look forward at the changes you want to make intentionally, right? And so here's something that you need to understand about yourself. Our spiritual DNA is perfect. It requires no improvement and no modification. If you've heard Bob say that before, well, this is why, is Bob's training. But right at the center of your consciousness is an image of perfection. You've heard we've been created in God's image. Well, some could completely agree with that, because the inside of us is absolutely perfect. The problem is we have such amazing creative faculties within us, the ability to create ourselves, right? We can create our reality, we can create our results, we can create our paycheck, we can create the team size that we want, we can create, if we're viral on Facebook or if we're not, right? We can create all these things. We have the faculties within us to do that, but we're so buried in virus code and false concepts. It's only on a rare occasion that perfection sees the light of day. It's only on a rare occasion that perfection really gets to shine through. Paradigms and viruses and doubts and insecurities. And it's our responsibility to get rid of all the stuff that we've collected over the years, all that stuff that we've made ourselves, we've become ourselves. Maybe you had a parent like me that made you feel super unvalued, right? I still remember to this day, my dad's like, I can't go to your high school graduation. I said, why not? And he said, because I got to go to your brother's. And I said, okay, why I can't go to your soccer games? Well, why not? Because I'm going to your brother's soccer game. And, men's sports is, way more than women's sports. It's women's sports don't ever go anywhere. You're not going to become a professional. I'm not going to those games. And, I'm going to go to your brother's games. He has a shot at a Division I school. He could be a quarterback, someday. I'm going to go to his stuff. So what did that send to me? That was a message to me that women are inferior, women are less than. That's how I grew up. I had 3 older brothers, and that was the message that I received. I had to sit in the back seat of the car because ladies were to be driven. The men get to sit in the front. They're going to control everything, right? They're the show. And so I had these things piled up on me. I had all these virus codes put in me. I had this false concept of who I was embedded into my subconscious. And I had feeling behind that because I was angry about it, right? So I made it permanent. And so what happened as an adult, well, I walked around with a big chip on my shoulder for a long time, and for sure didn't want anything to do with men, right? And so we learn these things from the messages we receive as children. We get all these virus codes put on us. We get these paradigms that are stuck into our subconscious because of the things that we're hearing and the things that we're feeling as we're growing up and becoming adults. But that doesn't mean that's what you have to accept. You know, I had to separate that. I had to say, that's his paradigm. That's his virus code. That's not mine. I don't want any of that on me. Get that off of me. Like, I don't want any of that, because I want to be in a world where women win. You know, I want to be in a world, I want to be in a company where women are respected and valued, and their ideas and their, you know, stage time is just as important as the men that are beside them, right? I envisioned a different reality. I envisioned a different world. I had a different self-image for myself. And so I rebuked all that, right? And so, you know, so what if the negative things about you are true? So let's talk about that for a minute. This is the reason why most people get stuck. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of another story here. Flip the script. So because I learned that as a child, my early marriages were failures, right? And learning experiences more than anything, right? I was a kid getting married at 18 years old. But I remember, you know, it was after a series of getting the same results that I finally started to wake up. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I'm now divorced twice. You know, I have 2 kids. You know, I'm going through this, and they're saying the same thing. And they're saying that, you know, I have no filter. I have the ability to just like hurt people with my words and not realize it. Like, I remember having to say sorry all the time. And I didn't even realize what I was sorry for. I just knew that I just might as well just say sorry all the time. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Please forgive me, because my mouth has a mind of its own, you know? And so these negative things about me were true. They were true at the time. I had the results. Those were my results. And so when I wanted to change as a person, I had to make them not true. I had to stop doing those things. I had to stop doing harmful things to people. I had to stop saying negative things to people. I didn't want to say sorry anymore. I just wanted it to be true. I wanted the good side of me to be louder than the bad side of me, right? I wanted to be a good person. I wanted to walk with integrity. I wanted people to say good things about me. I didn't want them to say bad things about me, right? And so if the negative things about your personality right now are true, then it's your responsibility to make them not true. This takes a certain level of commitment to yourself. Like, you ever yell at your kids and then right after you're like, man, I wish I didn't say that. You ever yell at somebody and just like, yeah, man, why did that get out? Right? We've been in that situation before, and you're like, I'm not going to do that again next time. Well, you have to have the awareness to put a stop in what it is that you're doing. You have to have that awareness to reel yourself back in and try to make that correction. And sometimes it's only in our head. Sometimes it don't even manifest out there. Sometimes it's just negative self-talk. Oh, Robert, you know, you can't do it. You know, Aaron, there's no way you're going to succeed. Lynn, you know, you've been at this a long time. We have these negative talk going on in our head. And if that's loudest, that's what you're going to identify as true. And so your job is to stop identifying with the negativity, stop making that true for you. You know, and my kids used to say, you know, actually, I learned this as a kid too. So my stepmom, my brothers would be picking on me, and I would run to my stepmom and go, you know, they call me this, they call me that, they call me whatever, all these names. And she said, well, is it true? And I was like, no. And she's like, then why do you care? I was like, wow, that's powerful. You know, like, okay, you're right. If it's not true, but if it is true, then it hurts, right? Well, they said I'm this. Well, is it true? Yeah, it's true. Well, if it's true for you, then it is true, right? But if it's not true for you, then it's not true. Okay, so we have to work on ourselves. We got to find those areas where we don't want that to be true anymore. We want the truth to be true. Does that make sense? That's crazy. We want that spiritual DNA to shine through. That's the truth of who you are. Okay. And so how do we do that? Well, what I found is that the more you study you, the better the image you're going to have of yourself. And that image is vitally important. It's so important to everything. It's in our self-image has a cybernetic mechanism built into it that autocorrects like a thermostat. You know, you leave the door open in your house, well, that thermostat's kicking on by itself, right? And it's going to bring the room back to 70 degrees or whatever it's set at. It gets too hot, it goes on. It gets too cold, it goes on. That's a cybernetic mechanism. Well, we have that built into ourselves, which is why when you say, I'm going to make a change, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make a lot of money in this network marketing industry, I'm going to become a massive success, I'm going to drive this car, I'm going to do this, I'm going to write some books, I'm going to conquer the world, I'm going to do all these things. What happens? That cybernetic mechanism says, no, you're not. No, that's not true. You're not 10 pounds lighter than you said you were. You're broke right now. You only make $2,000 a month, talking about $25,000 a month. That mechanism kicks in. You ever see people make a lot of money and lose it all within 3 or 4 years, even quicker than that sometimes? Why does that happen? How come when they physically get more money, their cybernetic mechanism, their paradigm, their virus code of being broke kicks back in, and then suddenly they're broke again? You ever see people do that? Just study the people in the NFL. They go through that all the time. In fact, many of them end up in our office because they're like, hey, I had my run. I was in this team, in the NFL and, spent my money, and now I'm here. I want to, make money again. Why does that happen? Well, because if you are changing all the things in your physical reality, but you're not changing yourself, you're not going to have any permanent results, right? Because the primary cause of permanent results is changing that interior, that inside first. And so if you understand how plane works, now, what does a pilot do? He just sets in the coordinates, right? From LAX to Chicago, let's say that's where they're going. He puts in the coordinates, and then the plane is up here, hits some turbulence. It gets knocked off course. Well, the cybernetic mechanism brings it right back on course, which is why people that try and lose weight sometimes, they're like, I lost 10 pounds. And then what happens the next couple of weeks? They find it right back again because they haven't altered their self-image yet. If you don't alter your self-image about yourself, you're going to find those 10 pounds again. You're going to find your way back on course to LAX or Chicago, wherever you're going. The rocket that gets shot up to the moon and back, it's said that the rocket fails its way to the moon. It's back on course, off course, back on course, off course. So it's, if you've got a broke self-image, you earn a little money, but you find a way to lose it, right? I've actually seen this with some of my own people that I've worked with, people in my life, they're making 150 grand a year, still broke. You cut their salary in half, they have the same amount of leftover money they did when they were making more money. How's that possible? Let's talk about time for a second. If you get ready at the same time every day, and you're getting ready to leave your house, you have to leave your house at the same day. You wake up every morning and you say, okay, I'm going to get ready. It's going to take me 30 minutes to do this. It's going to take me 15 minutes to get in the shower. It's going to take me this time. Listen, if you get up earlier one day and you're like, okay, I got extra time. So you may be farting around for a little bit, having your coffee, like I got extra time today, right? No, you're still probably going to leave the house at the exact same time. That mechanism is going to kick in and you're going to be right on time as usual. People say, I don't have time to work out in the morning. Nobody has time to work out in the morning. You make it. You change the cybernetic mechanism in yourself that says, I don't have time. And you say, I have time. Now you have time. All right. So in your subconscious mind, there's a part of your paradigm that's an image of yourself. What does that mean? This is the image that you're holding of yourself. This is how you view yourself. This is, and this is what controls the way you walk, talk, read the world. The image of yourself literally controls everything. And so we must change the image that we're holding inside. You got to really start thinking, what do I really want to be like? What do I not want to be like? That was for me. I was like, I don't want to be like that again. I don't want to be like that. So I had to change that. So think about what you really want to be like. Pick people that that you'd like to emulate. You want to be more like them. I would like to have the mentorship skills of a Robert Hollis. I would love to have the presentation skills of a Candace Bird Davis. I'm picking out, if I could just go shopping, even just in the MDC network, and pick all the talents out in our leadership, I want to be more like that. So I'm going to study these people. I'm not going to copy them, but I'm going to pick a character trait here and there that I like. And I'm going to start visualizing myself as that way. Visioneering. So you're not copying them. You're just taking the traits you like of them. Bob Proctor, I really like the way he teaches. I like the way he presents. So maybe I'm going to take some things from that. And said he actually talked about it. He learned from Bill Gove and Billy Graham. He studied preachers and things like that. And and Earl Nightingale and how they presented, and a lot of what they do ended up in Bob's presentation style. And you guys can do the same thing. You can pick out the leaders that you want. You can envision yourself as having those characters. And you can do that right now. You don't have to wait until you have more money so you can buy the clothes to match the image. No, that's not even what it's about. It's how you feel on the inside. It's how you're projecting yourself. It's letting that perfection shine through, right? It's eliminating the self-talk that is literally the opposite of that. Okay, so number one is pick out people you want to be more like, or character traits that you like in people that you'd like to adopt for yourself. That's the first thing. And number two, write out a description in the present tense. Now, you got to be totally relaxed. This is like the meditation part of it, okay? You got to totally relax. You got to see yourself as that person. How will you behave if you have those traits? Okay, this is called imagined reality. Stella Adler wrote a book called The Art of Acting. And it was actually a bunch of transcripts from her actual acting classes that was written by Kistler. And it's the act as if technique. I said this actually on the live I did with Ray Higdon yesterday, but acting as if. So let's think about how movie stars do this all the time, right? They read the script, they read it again, they read it again, right? And then they internalize it, they add emotion to it. And before you know it, they literally are becoming the character. So when they're on screen, they are the character. That's a good actor or actress can do that, right? If you aren't buying that they're the character, they're probably not a good actor, right? And so you got to do this with your own life. Act as if you're that 7 and 8 figure income earner. You know, Bob's not here today, but I always am thinking to myself, what would Bob do? What would Jesus do? What would Buddha do? What would, the greats do? What would Abraham Lincoln do? What would Martin Luther King Jr. do? What would he do? What would they do in these situations? If I were to act as if I were them, what kind of decisions would I make? How would I, carry myself? How would I talk to the world? How would I greet the world? How would I behave in the world? That's how you change your self-image, right? Now, nobody can alter your image for you. Nobody. But you can. And you can live the life that you really want by doing this. All right, let me get to my next page here, you guys. All right, so I just want to share real quickly, just a little bit from my past. Like, I used to be sick. I used to be really unhappy. I used to be sick. I used to be broke. I used to be really negative at network marketing. I used to be, like a completely different person. But now I'm happy. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy. That's no accident. Like, I had to work towards that. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and I was like, and I'm done being like that, and now I'm going to be like this. Like, no, it was process. It was a whole process. But I did that on purpose. You can do the same thing on purpose. You don't have to be stuck where you are. You may say, well, Jenna, I'm just an Uber driver. I don't have time, to do this or that, or, I don't have the money to wear those clothes or to act like that. It's about your way you carry yourself more than anything else. The outward image will come naturally, right? But it's the inner image that counts. Now, Steve Bowe, he's the president of the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. And our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. Did you guys catch that? God's gift to us is to give us just the ability, talent and ability to go crush it, to go create our dreams, go create our reality, go after those goals. We're given that power. We're given those creative faculties to go do that. But our gift to God is to use it. Go use it. That's our gift. That's how we appreciate. That's how we say, thank you for giving me this ability. Thank you for giving me the ability to communicate with an audience. Thank you for giving me the ability to touch somebody else's life and to make changes in them and to be the inspiration for somebody else that's stuck or lost along the way. Thank you for giving me the ability to do that and the talent that I can hone in on. That's how you send that appreciation, that gratitude, is by reciprocating and to develop the skills that we have within. Develop them. We have so much talent and ability locked up in us. It's not even funny. Like, no scientist can predict what you're capable of. Nobody can. Nobody really knows what your potential really is. You do. I shouldn't have had The results that I had in my life based on where I was raised and where I came from, what dirt road I grew up on in a town that had no money. I grew up like that and I became something completely else. Why? Because I understood my potential. You have to understand your potential. You have to understand that your potential actually rides on the image that you hold on yourself, of yourself. Now there's something wonderful about you. You got to get in touch with it. And I'm not talking about conceit. I'm not talking about being egotistical about yourself either. I'm talking about a healthy, conscious awareness of who and what you are. You have to know that internally. You got to know that. Now let's think about this. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Let's apply this to the team that you're building right now in My Daily Choice. Let's think about this. You got a group of people together with this understanding. Let's imagine everybody in your team now knows they have the power within them to change and shape their whole reality based on the image they hold of themselves. All they have to do is change that picture that they're holding. Now imagine everybody on the team knows this. Everybody on the team is now creating. We're not competing, we're creating. They have got a good self-images. They understand that the team has an image. Sometimes I talk to leaders and they almost talk down on their teams like, oh, my team would never go for that. My team would never sell that. Now my team's too much worried about the ingredients. We can never launch that. You know, they speak on their teams and you don't realize you're casting that vision. You're casting that out there. You're creating that. You may want to speak differently about your team. You may want to believe in them. You want to open up that potential within your team. They may have done this before, but imagine they're much bigger than they are now. Where do you think you can take them? Okay. Yeah, Robert, my team has no money. My team is, only wants $5 deals. I've heard that before. My team's budget's lower than the rest of the company. What are you talking about? Don't put that on them. Don't cast that vision for them. You don't even know that. Say the opposite. And listen, teams that understand this about themselves, they're creating. They don't have to compete. Amateurs compete, professionals create. We get people in our office all the time. They're like, what are you guys doing about the competition? We're like, what competition? Like, nobody's in competition with anybody, really. I mean, that company has tech too. Oh, cool. That's awesome. They need to have tech. Honestly, they're going to survive. They should start doing that. I think they should do that. Oh, this company has sprays. That's amazing. Sprays have an amazing delivery system. That's why we have them. Okay, there's no competition. The only competition you have is with who you were yesterday, is with yourself. That's it. And so the team that comes together, that builds a powerful image, they cannot be beat. You think about this, right? The underdogs in a football, team, and that they're rising up because inside they're feeling like champion. That coach is instilled in them. You're already a champion, right? That coach is putting in there. You show up every single day, win, lose, draw. We are winning because we've decided we're winning, right? We may learn, we may lose because we're learning, but we are already winning. We're going to win. They're not going anywhere. These people can't be beat. They can't quit. They're not going to quit. And you've got some people going, this way. You got some people going that way. Now, let me tell you, not every team or not every group is a team. Some of y'all have group. You don't have a team. I'm talking about teamwork. I'm talking about working together towards the same objective, coming together, doing the same activities, doing the same duplication, doing the same, preaching the same message throughout your organization, bringing that group together as a team. Okay. Now, this is something else you have to understand. Okay. There's a power flowing to and through you. And when you bring people together in the spirit of harmony, okay, you have one of the most powerful forces in the entire world. This is the mastermind principle. When you hook up a group of batteries together, what happens? They become more powerful. You link up a group of people together, you get them on the same frequency. Guess what? You have a powerful team. And guess what? Powerful teams make powerful companies. And powerful companies create powerful compensation for their people. Does that make sense? You guys want to win, but you're trying to do it by yourself. You're trying to be the star of the show by yourself. You can't do this business by yourself. You have to link people together. You got to hook those batteries up together. You got to work in unison. You got to say the same things. You got to carry yourself the same way. You got to operate as a unit. I've been in the military before. And they teach us how to stand in formation, how to walk as if we are one. They teach us how to march, how to go, all have to go right at the same time, right? We all got to go left at the same time. We can't be going in different directions. Imagine we trying to win a war that way. You can't win a war that way. You can't win a war by yourself. Well, guess what? The war is society at large right now, coming down on us, trying to tell us the opposite of what we really are, trying to mix us up, trying to confuse us, trying to take away our power. But guess what? If we work together, we become the most powerful force in the world. Now, the mind is the powerful force in all creation, but you bring everybody's mind together, you got something unstoppable. You got something so powerful that not only will your results change, everybody in the team's results are going to change too. Now, if you've got people on your team that don't understand that, they weren't on this call today. They probably know everything, right? They're not here because they know everything. Maybe they're at work. Okay, but if you got people on your team that don't understand this, then you need to share it with them. Take it upon yourself. This is now your responsibility. You need to share this information with them. You see somebody going off astray and they're going, I think I'm going to quit. I think I'm going to just try something else. I think I'm just going to do an Amazon store. I'm going to do something that doesn't revolve around having a team. And I don't know, I think I'm going to do this, right? They get distracted. Okay. You got to pull them aside, take them for a cup of coffee, get them on a Zoom call. You got to redirect them back in here, right? Listen, I understand how you feel, but listen, we have a bigger mission at large right now, and we need you a part of it. You got to bring them back together. Now, Bob told me you don't understand anything until you can teach it to somebody else so that they understand it. So you may have to watch this 1 or 2 times, but you got to know this information. You got to know how powerful you are. You got to know that internal self-image, that perfection within. You got to know that you got to let that shine through, and you got to teach that to the rest of your team, because chances are they're entering into your business with a lot of self-doubts, a lot of self-criticism, a lot of, limitations. And we have to push past those if we're going to be the best that we can be. And so now that you understand this, you got to teach it. It's your responsibility to share it. And there's nothing like a powerful, creative team. It turns work into fun. Let me say that again. It turns work into fun. Some people are like, I'm just getting burnt out. I'm calling people, they don't answer. They're feeling really low energy. You get in network marketing long enough, you may have experienced that before. But guess what? When you're working together and you're getting people to work together and you're moving forward to one common vision, one common goal, this becomes fun. And it's not even about the end goal, because your end goal is already happening. You're in the process of creating that right now. This makes it fun. This makes it fun to show up every day. This charges you up. This gives you energy. It doesn't take it away. And so if you're feeling like your energy is being ripped apart because you're in this business, you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you, because there is a way to build this business and be fueled from it, not drained from it. Okay. And how you change that is how you change your perspective. It's how you feel about yourself. It's how you feel about your goals. It's the belief you have in the direction that you're going. That's what really counts. So if you people wondering, of course, it's your job to bring them back in. All right. You got to make sure that your team has power. Okay. Because some of y'all have a lot of people on your team, but they don't have any power. They're not hooked together. They're not linked up. They're all individual batteries trying to accomplish something individually. But if you link them up together, you have a massively powerful team. My Daily Choice is a massively powerful creative group of people, and we're all working together towards the same objective. And powerful teams, like I said, you guys, make powerful companies. People come here to the corporate office and you can see the hairs on their arms standing up. It's an electrifying energy that's going throughout the whole company right now. It's almost undeniable. Josh and I barely have to say anything at all. And they go, I just feel like I'm supposed to be here right now. It just feels like alignment. It feels like it's right. It feels like this is where we should be going. This company is conscious. This company is putting people first. And because of that, I'm here. I don't care whatever you say next. I'm here. And so that energy is undeniable. It's powerful. It's strong. It's your job to tap in. It's your job to tap into that. It's your job to bring people and tap them into that. Hook those batteries up so that you can change the results. You can change the results of your team. You can change the results of yourself, and you can change the results in your entire life. So thank you guys so much for hopping on, and I will see you guys next week on our next call. lesson 7. All right, guys, see ya.